but Dele Farotimi will remain eternally a hero in the minds of Nigerians.
To call Farotimi a prophet is not to indulge in hyperbole, but to acknowledge a man who has consistently spoken with truth to power in a country drowning in its own contradictions. But why do we have to say his handcuffs are wedding rings to the masses? Farotimi's handcuff represents the systematic repression that silences activists, journalists, and ordinary citizens who dare to demand accountability. The handcuffs that briefly bound him are a metaphor for the systematic repression that seeks to silence truth-tellers. Yet, for the masses, these handcuffs are like wedding rings, symbols of an unbreakable bond with a man who refuses to abandon their plight no matter the cost. Farotimi's warning about Nigeria's future are not mere rhetoric, they are based on cold, hard facts. First, weaponized poverty. Over 133 million Nigerians live in poverty, not as victims of chance, but as deliberate policies designed to subjugate. Farotimi has reportedly pointed out how poverty is wielded as a tool for oppression. Farotimi was among the few who stood boldly after the Lekki toll gate massacre, demanding justice for the victims of the state-sponsored violence. His unwavering stance has made him a target, but it also has endeared him to the millions who are suffering under this government. Farotimi has long critiqued the judiciary, calling it out.
The level of corruption that I witnessed in this case, the brazenness of it, is not suggestive of somebody who is coming to the rodeo for the first time. This is a well-practiced person. This is the norm for these persons. No matter how corrupt a judicial system might be, there are certain precepts and norms. It's like I want to count 1 to 3, and then I'm looking to skip 2. So I just say 1, 3. Where is the 2? So there should be some order, some processes by which you arrive at a particular decision. That is why the court have rules. But when you see the highest judicial body in the country flouting his own rules and acting in a manner that is suggestive of impunity, then you know that something is very abnormal in that situation.
His own court case is a stark reminder of how justice in Nigeria often bends to the will of the elite. Let's watch this video from Charles Apoki, our friend.
I don't know how and why he was secretly, clandestinely brought to court today and granted bail. And he was handcuffed. But the man that is alleged to have stolen 80 billion, alleged 80 billion, was brought to court, escorted by his houseboy, and he was gallivanting. He had escaped or defied the order of the EFCC to come to them severally. Somebody says severally is not correct grammar, but I went to check it, it's correct. Several times he refused to come. When he came, he sat in court as if it was the traditional ruler that they were narrating his offenses to.
So from Charles' video, we can see someone accused of stealing or embezzling millions, over billions from state coffers was brought to the court, came with his entourage. But someone who is accused of a defamation is a civil right or civil crime that did not even require the presence of police, was sent to be arrested. He was harassed and he was handcuffed to the court. For what? Like, this is not a criminal offense, but he was handcuffed like a hardened criminal. Now, this to tell you that the same justice system, like what Farotimi wrote in his book, is what is happening. And then in a town hall meeting, the former Attorney General of Ekiti State read out some charges.
In view of the above, I humbly request that you, that is to the Commission of Police, use your good office to invite Mr. Dele Farotimi to show proof of the truthfulness of his publication, failure of which he should be prosecuted for criminal defamation. in accordance with the requirements of the extant laws of Nigeria. Confiscate all defamatory publications until the investigations are completed. Stop Mr. Dele Farotimi by himself and or his agents from further publishing any defamatory content to attack my hard-earned reputation, the reputation of my law firm and that of my lawyers and of the Nigerian Judiciary. Is it wrong? We ask, is it wrong for Afe Babalola to seek justice for these false utterances against him? Should justice only be available to Mr. Dele Farotimi because Afe Babalola is a global icon? He's a big man, has no right to defend himself against destruction of his image we have struggled to beat up.
But now these are the evidence, glaring the actions of the judiciary are glaring evidence of what Farotimi is fighting for. So Farotimi's handcuffs might have been temporary, but they serve as a permanent symbol of his covenant with the Nigerian people.
Dele Farotimi was brought with handcuffs. It vindicates his assertions that the system is corrupt. A alleged criminal that stole 80 billion of our money walked freely to court. A lawyer charged for defamation that is not a criminal offense was handcuffed.
So his advocacy is a lifeline of the voiceless, his courage a rallying cry for those tired of suffering in silence. First, he's a prophetic voice. Farotimi's predictions about the consequences of unchecked corruption and impunity have consistently come true, earning him a reputation as one of Nigeria's most incisive critics. Secondly, he's a binding commitment. His sacrifice, being dragged through courts and vilified, reflects his unyielding dedication to the cause of justice. His bound with the masses is one of the convenience, but of purpose, sealed by shared pain and collective hope. Now let's talk about the January 29 trial. This is actually going to be a serious test for Nigeria, as the court adjourns Farotimi's case until January 29. The stakes are very high. This is no longer just about one man. It's a referendum on the state of justice in Nigeria. Will the judiciary prove itself capable of impartiality, or it once again serve as a tool for silent dissent? This delay also provides an opportunity for Nigerians to rally round Farotimi. The masses must see this struggle as their own, just as they've seen. Farotimi was supposed to appear today in court, and then the charges will be read and then the judgment, but Nigerians took it upon themselves and they planned a protest somewhere, a nationwide protest, and this protest was going to check. So they hurriedly rushed him to the court and they granted him bail on the 9th, where the original sitting date is supposed to be for today. That is one of those things that Farotimi wrote in the book, and it's just exactly what is happening. Already the masses are already seeing this struggle as their own. His handcuffs were meant to break his spirit, but they have instead become symbol of resistance, binding him even more tightly to those he fights for. So what's our call to action? The prophet cannot fulfill his mission alone. The masses must rise, not as spectators but as active participants in the fight for justice. Farotimi's sacrifice demands reciprocity. His handcuffs, now replaced by the temporal freedom of bail, are reminders that the struggle is far from over. January 29, 2025 is not just a date on the calendar, it's a marker of destiny. Between now and then, the people must make their voices heard, ensuring that Farotimi's case does not fade into obscurity, but becomes a rallying point for systematic change. If you take a look back to history, there were people like Dele Giwa. These people were silenced. There were people like Fela Kuti. These people were silent. There were people like Ken Saro-Wiwa. These people were silent. So I think that this is the right time for Nigerians to rise up and for once fight for those fighting for their rights. We live in a country where the people you are fighting for are fighting you. We've seen it severally. But I think for the people to have organized a protest, that they want to protest Farotimi's arrest, they want to protest because it was unjustly, even within the same judiciary, we see people like Falana come out to say Farotimi should be released, that is an unjust arrest. The whole Nigerian Bar Association, they come out, they speak up against this arrest. So I think it's a call up, it's a wake-up call, and our call to action is this prophet cannot fulfill his mission alone. The masses must rise up. We must wake up. Definitely there's an uprising come, but when you try to stiffen dissent like this, in this manner, if nobody speak out, when you don't speak, you're complacent. If we don't come out, if we don't rally behind Farotimi, whatever platform we have online, offline, if you're able to go to the court on the 29th, you have to be there. Dele Farotimi's story is one of courage, sacrifice, and unyielding truth. His handcuffs were never just for him. They were symbols of repressive system that enslaved the masses, a system that enslaves all of us. By granting him bail, the court has offered a temporary reprieve, but the battle continues, and this is our windows to prepare and to be there for him. Let the masses honor this prophet, not by watching from the sideline, but by joining the struggle. Let January 29, 2025 be remembered as not another adjoined death, but a turning point in Nigeria's history. Farotimi says something, that he had a case that has been running for over how many years against Afe Babalola.
Arrogantly so, it declined. And I sued him for libel. And when I sued for libel, the machines of corruption went into overdrive, and a case that should never have been killed at the preliminary stage was killed. Everything about the case, the judge to whom it was assigned, the manner of the handling of the case, 9 months after it was adjourned for ruling. 9 months. The procedures are clear. It shouldn't be longer than 3 months. 9 months without informing us, in spite of the fact that we had written 2 letters to request to be told when the ruling will be delivered. So, and then the ruling went as far as to say that, look.
But the man has been evading justice. Now we can also take a look at other cases in the country. Look at the case of Mohbad. Mohbad died. This is a year plus. We don't know what happened to this guy. We don't know how to die. There were people that were accused. There were people that they were in the lead. There were people that had connection to this. And those people, nobody called them in for questioning. Everybody was beating around the bush. And the few people that come out to say this should be traced, this should be dug, Nigerians start fighting for them. We have a people in Nigeria where we say justice, 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 but we're fighting against the same justice we're yearning for. Mohbad today, it's not just about Mohbad. There are other cases that we do not get justice, criminal cases, murder cases. There were a bunch of group of terrorists, Boko Harams, that were arrested in the north. Soldiers sacrificed their lives. We did not hear anything about these people. Later we heard these people were given new orientation. These people were incorporated into the society. They became repentant Boko Haram. They became repentant terrorists. So what about the life of those who sacrificed, those soldiers who sacrificed their lives, who had wives, who had children, who had families to feed, but they gave their lives to protect. They gave their life to apprehend these people, and then in turn, the Nigerian government gave these people a better life. Justice. January 29, I repeat, must be remembered not just as another adjoining death, but as a turning point in the history of Nigeria. Together, the prophet and the people can forge a new covenant, one that breaks the chains of oppression and builds a future founded on justice and truth. Before we conclude, let's listen to Apoki Charles, our friend.
Handcuffs of people who say the truth is the wedding ring between the person that you want to humiliate and those he wants to set free. Those handcuffs are the wedding ring between Dele Farotimi and his audience and the Nigerians that he stands for.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Let's Talk Politics today. Drop opinions in the comment section. We'll see you in the next episode.